Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we have an exciting guest for me today. Full disclosure, John Benitez, our guest, works with us at Fire Pit Art. He's our latest employee,
Yes.
and I'm just blown away by him. He's an interesting guy, philosophical. He has a different path than I've had. We all have different paths, and I'm just excited that he's willing to share his story. I've had a few conversations with him. Family man, good all around dude, always happy. He does the job that he's tasked with without complaint. Those kind of people are hard to find sometimes. So, uh,
Yeah, that's
ladies and gentlemen, John Benitez. John, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing good today. It's a pretty good day today.
Well, I really want to thank you for joining up here because what we're going to talk about is your life,
Yeah.
and one of the things that we're just going to jump in there with is that you just recently got out of prison
Yeah.
for 6 years, and can I say what for?
Yeah, you can. It's okay.
John was charged with armed robbery and convicted, and so he's allowed us to come in today and speak frankly about his experience. Now, one thing that surprised me the other day, John and I were talking. Excuse me, and I said, "Well, what's it like to be out of prison?" And he paused, and he said, "Well, I'm just in a different prison." So, John, would you speak to that again? Because I found that fascinating.
Well, in prison, you don't really have much freedom. You get a bed to sleep on. You get 3 meals a day. You know what I'm saying? You get medical attention if you need it. Sometimes you get education or whatever, but you don't really have any freedom as far as like society wise. You don't get to speak to a lot of people. You don't get to interact with a lot of people. And the people that are around you are mostly like the people you're trying to get away from when you were younger that put you in that position. And coming home, when I came home, I realized that, and it's just like everything says is like bills and gas and all that stuff is basically just like kind of more of a prison to me. Trying to find a job with my background or trying to support my family with my background, not being able to get a good job or anything. Not that I have a good job now, but dealing with parole and stuff is just like a bigger prison. That's just how I feel about it. It's just like very overwhelming. The world is very overwhelming, very overwhelming.
it I don't think you're nostalgic for your being back in prison, but it
No,
sounds like
it's
you'd almost be okay with that. Is that
yeah. I
true?
mean, it's like it's more of like a choosing a lesser evil, if you want to say choosing a lesser evil. It's like if I'm to enjoy the freedom that I have now, the freedom that I'm given right now, and I know I'm not going to get too much further with the freedom I have that we all get right now. I would rather have that than to be stuck in a position where I have zero freedom, nothing. So I kind of look at it as more of like a lesser evil.
So you have more control of
Yeah,
this lesser evil. You have zero opportunity to improve your position in prison because your
yeah,
location can't change. But
mhm,
and out here, your location can change, so that gives you a little more opportunity to improve your situation. By the way, you are improving your situation.
yeah. I'm trying.
And I hope, and you know that whatever I can do or we can do here to help you, we're all on board, brother. You know that.
Yeah, I know. I know. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have been a really good help since I've been home.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. What do people ask you when you get out of prison? The first thing they walk up to you and say, "Oh, what do they ask you? What's the common question that everyone asks?"
The most common question is, I'm gonna be honest. The most common question is, what is the food like? Everybody always asks me that. What is the food like in prison? And I'm just like, it's terrible. You don't want to try it. That's the most common question that I get from people.
What is the food like? I mean, you don't have a choice of the food, and they don't really care if you don't like it either, right? It's just like,
No, and you'll be surprised too because a lot of people say, "Oh, the prisons is they don't have the food that they need and stuff," but people don't understand that inmates are the one that cook the food. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you'll have correctional officers that won't allow them to like season the food or make it just taste better. You know, and you have that, and then you have inmates that just don't want to do the job. That they're just there. They have a life sentence. They don't care. They're just doing that just to pass time, and they're just throwing food together. You know, but it's normal stuff that you would get out in a hospital or let's say in a mental institution or something. You get your protein, you get your vegetables, you get, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. It's the same thing. It's not cooked properly. It's just old food. We get the back end, the old food that's just about to expire. That's the type of food that we get, you know? And it's disgusting. And then we get canteen as far as like commissary, we can order food, chips and stuff like that. But there's not much stuff that we can stick with and stay healthy on because they don't have a lot of proteins on commissary. They don't have like milk and stuff like that. We don't get a lot of stuff like that, you know. We just get the basic things like chips, sodas, and stuff like that. And we don't get healthy foods that we actually need.
So I think you implied that having a
Mhm.
job, a cook's job, is actually a privilege, and that
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Is that right?
Well, getting a cook's job, if getting a job, period, is not. It's not really a privilege because if you don't take the job that they're offering you, they basically write you up, and you have to do like a time in a hole or something like that. It's
Really?
really yeah, yeah. It's really, a lot of people don't know that. It's backwards. It's backwards. Some people just say no, I'm not going to take the job. You know, because some of those jobs are very terrible, man. They're very terrible. Like having a janitor job. Sometimes you have like people that really have like mental illnesses and they're going crazy in their cell and they do disgusting things in their cell. We're as janitors, we have to clean that up, and we can't just say no. We don't want to do this. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? Because you guys work here, you clean it up. But jobs like that, people don't want to have. So they have basically a rule like you have to take the job. If you don't, you go to the hole for like 15 days, and you come back down.
That sounds medieval.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
What?
it is. It's very medieval, man. It's just like I don't understand. It's just people when people go to prison, they go there to like change their lives, their mindset and stuff, you know. But when you get treated a certain way in prison, you get put in the corner and you have to act a certain way to survive, you know. And a lot of people think, okay, when you go to prison, you have to worry about the inmates attacking each other or the inmates doing this and all this stuff. But really, we worry about are the correctional officers because they're the most deviant ones. They're sneaky. They'll do things like out of spite all the time, or they'll gang up together and take one of you guys out, or take two. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Those
No,
are the ones you
no,
watch.
I don't know what you're saying. So they gang up on you and
Yeah,
take you someplace else, and then what happens?
yeah, they beat you, man. They beat you. They beat you. Sometimes you know. Sometimes you won't have officers like that, but a lot of officers they're just like they want to set. They want to set like don't mess with us or we're gonna do this and that. So they'll as an example, they'll take one of us out and go out there and just beat us, you know what I'm saying, in handcuffs. It's not like we could just fight back, you know. Then that's if you break the rules or something. Per se that you had this and that, or you got caught with this and that, and you're trying to explain the situation, you get into an argument with the officer, they take you back there and then they basically taunt you. They taunt you into to using anger, you know what I'm saying, get angry and stuff, and they'll push you to, you know what I'm saying, they'll do things to make you angry, and then you'll defend yourself or anything like that. They'll put you in handcuffs. They'll go three deep, and they will beat you in there. They will beat you. Yeah.
They'll go 3D. Okay, you're gonna help me with 3D. What is 3D?
No, it's like three people. Three people. Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Yeah.
3D on you. I'm going to use that in the future. I think
Yeah.
so. Did they ever go 3D on you, my friend?
I mean, when I first went to prison, I was a little. I was bad. You know, I was in the mindset as I have a lot of time to do, so I don't really care what happens, you know. And I was involved with a lot of bad things too in prison. So I got into a fight. My first time getting involved with the police, I got into a fight with another inmate. And they took me to an elevator, and it was three of them. They took me to an elevator, put me in handcuffs, and they stomped me out, beat me with batons, they broke my nose, they split my eye, and they took me into medical. I was bleeding all over the place. That's like the first time this happened. And this happened like two, three times while I was in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that leads me to the question of I have an assumption about the answer, but does the correctional officer position attract a certain individual?
I want to say yes and no. Because like I said, there are good officers. There's actually good officers in there that want to help us and help us get out, get jobs and stuff, you know. They want to make sure that we're good, that we're eating good, you know. But then you have the officers that are like they want authority. That's what they want
Mm.
because they don't
Mm.
have that they don't have that outside in the world. Whether they're being mistreated by their wife or they had a bad childhood, they were bullied when they were little. Those kind of people, they are very attracted to jobs like that because they can tell us what to do. They can tell us what to do, and we cannot say anything back. We cannot say anything back. They can tell us whatever they want to do, and we can't say anything back. And that
It,
type of authority that attracts, like, yeah, those type of
it
people.
it empowers them, right?
Yeah, makes them feel empowered.
I was in the restaurant business for many years, and occasionally we'd get customers who thought that because the servers were in a subservient position that they could just do whatever and say whatever and be whatever they want to be.
Mhm.
Of course, I did not allow that with my staff, but it
Yes.
was surprising to me that people are like that, and that was my assumption that that's going to attract somebody that can prey on the weak, prey on the
Yeah.
defenseless, and it's so good to hear that they're actually one. I mean, there's wonderful people everywhere. They're everywhere, and it's really good to hear that in the correctional system, you do have people who are there for the right reasons, which is
Yeah.
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
It's good.
Definitely. Definitely. I've definitely had some officers like help me, you know what I'm saying, change my mentality. I've had officers, you know, sit me down and actually have a deep conversation about my life, my childhood, and why I act the way that I do and what do I want to do in the future to better myself and for my son too, you know. And it's just like there are a lot of officers like that in there. There are a lot of officers like that in there. So I don't want to say the majority of the population are bad, but the minority makes up for whatever they do, you know, the evil that they cause is that person.
Hmm. Well, the pay scale isn't particularly high. I mean, they're not going to make 100 grand or whatever
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
so it does attract someone that doesn't have a lot of options. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know that, but
Yeah. There's
huh.
a lot of understaffed too right now. There's a lot of understaffed. Before I got out, there was a lot of people just didn't want to work in prison because they feel like it was dangerous, you know, because you have to know what you're getting into when you go work in a prison. You have to know that there's 100 against 10 when you go to prison because it's always more of us than there are the correctional officers, and they have to know that going in and realizing that. I don't think a lot of people realize that and just don't want to work there, you know.
Hmm. Well, that might have something to do with the staff that want to keep
Yeah.
their thumb on people. If you
Yeah.
know if the inmate knows that if they do something wrong, they're going to get 3D'd, then
Yeah.
maybe they're going to be less likely
Yeah.
less likely to attack an
Yeah.
officer or do something that would result in a elevator ride.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's just mostly like in prison, you don't get a lot of people you don't get stuff like that. You don't get inmates going against officers like that. We really just are in our own environment, in our own world. It's literally a whole community. And you'll be surprised, we have cooks downstairs cooking for us. You have people actually that wash people's clothes. They get paid to wash people's clothes, you know, stuff. And it's just like a whole community inside there. So that's how we take it as. So when we have officers coming in and trying to take our things from us or try to instigate a riot or instigate a fight against another inmate and stuff, it just disrupts the community and all of us get disrupted. Everything stops, you know. That's why it's so affecting when you have like a good officer or a bad officer.
Wow, wow, wow. So yeah, there are jobs.
Hmm.
There's entrepreneurs in prison. Yeah, I'll wash your shirt for
Yeah.
25 cents, right?
Yeah.
So where do you get the money? Did the money come in from outside, or how do you? I mean, there are ways to make money in prison, I guess,
Yeah,
but
yeah. There's ways to make money in prison, but your family is usually the ones that send you money, or if you have a job, they'll pay you. But the pay there is just like you get paid $7.25 every week to be a janitor. That's the
every
pay
week,
every week. $7.25 every week.
a buck a day.
Yeah, yeah, $1 a
Woo.
day. So really, a lot of people just don't want to work there, so they get money from their family out there in the world.
But not, and not everyone has family out there that that does
Yeah.
it or is able to do it. I mean, some people just don't have extra money to send
And
for.
that's where you got the entrepreneurs, as far as like people washing clothes or people cooking for other people or stuff like that. People keeping other people's rooms clean. I'll pay you this and that if you keep my room clean for this amount of time or whatever, you know. You got people like that. That's how other people make money.
So your room, so you're bunking with at least one other person, right? Or is it open? How's it work?
You that's only in certain prisons. Not even in, no, in prison in North Carolina. No, I've never seen a prison actually where you bunk with somebody else. You either get a single cell or you're in a big like warehouse looking thing, and it has a bunch of bunks. Just think about the military. It's just a bunch of bunk beds, metal bunk beds and stuff, and we all sleep inside that block. That's what we call it. That block. It's just like a big warehouse looking thing.
So it's dormitory style,
Yeah,
kind
it's basically dormitories. Yeah, basically dormitories.
of? Okay. So so many questions.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So you're sleeping in a dormitory
yeah,
and somebody next to you has sleep apnea. The boy snores like a walrus
yeah.
in heat. Okay. You just nothing you can do. You just have to endure this, right?
You gotta endure it, man. You just gotta sleep there. You gotta sleep through it. Yeah.
That does not make them popular with the rest of the population.
No, you
Yes.
sometimes have people that have sleep apnea and they use machines and stuff, and machines are very loud or like they're very old. They make a lot of noise and stuff. You have to sleep with that, man. You gotta ignore it.
So inmates in prison
Mm.
uh, can have a CPAP machine. You got to plug it. You got to plug it in, don't you? Have to plug it in somewhere.
Yeah, they have specific wall plugs that they use just for that to plug in.
Really,
Yeah,
man, this is amazing. This is a whole new mind-opening experience.
yeah,
Wow. Okay, so we're going to pause today's episode. We're going to come back. There is so much here, John,
yeah.
that I want to have chunks of it here so people can digest it. There is so much that I want to ask you and talk to you about, and I do appreciate what you're doing today.
Yeah.
Um, so will you come back and do this again and spend some time with me and
Yeah, definitely, man. I'll definitely come through again. Definitely.
okay. Well,
I
folks,
really enjoyed the time.
pardon me.
I said I really enjoyed the time. I really enjoyed it.
Well, folks, this has been an incredibly interesting episode one of the
So
John
fun.
Benitez series. And please tune in again for episode two.